instructions were telegrammed over to say, no, return him to the south because that's where his heart lies. So bury him in South Georgia, please. The crosses that you see on Hope Point were the cairn in memory of their leader. So the whalers, so they went off south and the whalers buried him here, and they buried him north-south. So this is south. The rest of the graves here follow the Christian Lutheran style because they're Norwegian, east-west. But Shackleton's head points south to where his heart truly lay. So he was buried here. Frank Wilde joined him in 2011. So he died in poverty in South Africa in the Transvaal Valley. He had a failed cotton farm and he never did quite well after the Antarctic expeditions. And as it was the outbreak of the Second World War, they didn't find where he was. He was sort of lost in the parish records. So his biographer found him and brought the cremated remains back here. Does everyone have whiskey, or have you drunk it all?
Well,
It's the non-alcohol. It's the non-alcohol.
I don't know
if to start the day. At this point, I always like to use Shackleton's words instead of anything I could come up with. It seems more fitting. And these are the words he wrote when they finished their trek across South Georgia. And he came down the waterfall in Stromness Bay, and they threw down their carpenter's adze, which they've been using to hike across the mountains, and Worsley's diaries. And Shackleton said that this was all we had in terms of worldly possessions, but that in memories we were rich. We had pierced the veneer of outside things. We had suffered, starved, and triumphed, groveled, yet grasped at glory, grown bigger in the bigness of the whole. We had seen God in his splendor, heard the text that nature renders. We had reached the naked soul of man. I think Worsley is correct to say that Shackleton's greatest failure was his greatest triumph. It was his leadership and his care of his men to always bring them home safely. I think it's fitting if you'll join me to raise a toast to the boss.